Two dogs, 1,000 miles apart, a bond that refused to break. They were separated by fate, but could love guide them back together across the wild frontier? The wagon train left Independence, Missouri in spring of 1882. 50 families headed west, seeking new lives in California. Samuel led the train, with decades of frontier experience. His daughter Mary rode beside him on the lead wagon. Two dogs trotted alongside Mary's wagon faithfully every day. Brother was a golden retriever mix with a golden red coat. Sister was a border collie with striking black and white markings. The dogs had been together since birth 3 years ago. They were inseparable, always side by side on the journey. Brother was larger and protective of his smaller companion always. Sister was smarter and often led brother to water and shade. They communicated without sounds, just looks and body language understood. The wagon train made good progress through Kansas plains initially. Brother and sister explored ahead, then returned to Mary's wagon. Every evening they slept curled together under Mary's wagon bed.
3 weeks into the journey, they reached the Kansas River. The river ran high from spring rains and snowmelt upstream. Samuel scouted for the safest crossing point available to them. "We cross at dawn," he announced to the gathered families. "Keep your wagons close and animals calm." That night, a storm rolled across the plains without warning. Thunder crashed. Lightning split the sky repeatedly throughout the night. The oxen and horses grew nervous from the noise. Brother and sister huddled under Mary's wagon, seeking shelter together. By morning, the river had swollen even more dangerously, but they couldn't wait for it to recede completely. Supplies were limited, and California was still far ahead. Samuel gave the order, and wagons began crossing slowly. Mary's wagon entered the water with brother and sister swimming alongside it bravely.
Halfway across, disaster struck without any warning at all. A massive log came rushing downstream, propelled by current. It slammed into Mary's wagon with tremendous force. Instantly, the wagon tilted dangerously to one side in water. Mary screamed as supplies spilled into the rushing river. Brother and sister were both swept downstream by the current. Brother's head disappeared underwater briefly, then surfaced again. Sister paddled desperately, trying to reach her brother quickly, but the current was too strong for her smaller body. It pulled them in different directions, relentlessly and powerfully. Brother was swept toward the south bank, rapidly away. Sister tumbled north, toward rocks and shallow rapids ahead. Samuel dove in immediately, trying to reach Mary's wagon. Other men rushed to help pull the wagon upright. Mary clung to the wagon seat, crying for her dogs.
Brother fought the current with all his strength available. His powerful legs kicked hard, pushing toward the south shore. He reached the bank exhausted and collapsed on mud. Water streamed from his golden coat as he coughed. Brother stood on shaking legs, looking across the river. Sister was nowhere to be seen on the water. The wagon train was still crossing in the distance. Brother barked desperately, calling for sister to answer him. No response came back across the rushing water's roar. Brother paced the riverbank frantically, searching for any sign. He barked again and again until his throat hurt. The current had separated them completely for the first time. Brother's brown eyes showed confusion and fear and loss. Where was sister? He needed to find her immediately. Brother started walking south along the riverbank, searching downstream carefully. Sister had been swept a quarter-mile north upstream. The rapids had thrown her against rocks, bruising her. She dragged herself onto the north bank, shivering violently. Her black and white coat was matted with mud. Sister shook water off and looked around with blue eyes. The wagon train was distant, already crossing to the far side. Brother was nowhere visible in any direction around her. Sister barked sharply, hoping brother would hear her call. Only the river's roar answered back to her. Desperately, sister's intelligence told her something was very wrong here. They had been separated by the river's force completely. She needed to find brother and rejoin the wagon train. But which direction should she go to find them both? Sister started trotting north along the riverbank, calling for brother.
By afternoon, the wagon train had crossed successfully to safety. Samuel counted heads and inventory carefully as wagon master. Mary stood crying on the riverbank, searching for her dogs. "They're gone," she sobbed to her father Samuel sadly. Samuel put his arm around his daughter's shoulders comfortingly. "Dogs are survivors," he said gently but firmly to her. "They'll find their way to us or back home." But Mary knew the truth in her breaking heart. Brother and sister were lost somewhere along that river. The wagon train couldn't wait for two dogs indefinitely. They had schedules to keep and miles to cover. "We leave at dawn," Samuel announced to the families. Mary spent the night calling for brother and sister. No dogs appeared from the darkness around them anywhere. At dawn, the wagon train continued west toward California. Mary looked back crying as her dog's home disappeared.
Brother walked south along the river for 2 days. He searched every bank and inlet for sister's scent. Nothing. His paws were bloody from walking on rocks. His stomach was empty, but he barely noticed hunger. All brother could think about was finding sister again. On the 3rd day, brother caught a familiar scent. The wagon train had passed through here heading west. Brother's instinct kicked in immediately with new purpose. If he followed the wagon train west, maybe sister did too. Maybe she was ahead of him on the trail. Brother turned west and started walking with determination. 1,000 miles to California lay ahead of him. Sister, meanwhile, had walked north for 3 days searching. She found no trace of brother anywhere along river. Her smaller body was exhausted from walking without rest. Sister finally caught the wagon train's scent, heading west. Her intelligence processed the situation quickly and clearly now. The wagon train was going to California in the west. Brother would try to reach the wagon train eventually. She needed to go west to find him. Sister turned west and began her own journey. 1,000 miles separated the two dogs now completely. Brother was south, sister was north. Both headed west toward an uncertain reunion ahead. 2 dogs, 2 journeys, one impossible distance between them. But neither would stop until they found each other.
Brother walked west through Kansas territory alone for weeks. The landscape stretched endlessly before him every day. Tall grass plains gave way to rolling hills gradually. Brother followed the wagon train's scent when he could. Sometimes rain washed the trail away completely from ground. Then brother relied on instinct, always heading towards setting sun. He hunted rabbits and prairie dogs to survive alone. Water came from streams and occasional rain puddles found. Brother's golden coat became dusty and matted with burrs. His paws developed thick calluses from endless walking daily. At night, brother slept in tall grass or under bushes. He dreamed of sister and woke whining her name. Every morning, brother stood and continued walking west faithfully. Sister, 200 miles north, faced similar challenges on her journey. The Border Collie was smaller and faster than brother.
Sister covered ground more quickly with her athletic build, but she faced different dangers on her northern route. Coyotes spotted her one evening near their den site. 3 coyotes circled Sister with hungry eyes, watching her. Sister's intelligence kicked in, immediately assessing the threat level. She couldn't outrun 3 coyotes in open prairie land. Sister backed against a large rock, protecting her rear. She barked sharply, showing teeth in defensive warning, clearly. The coyotes advanced slowly, testing her courage and resolve. Sister lunged at the nearest coyote, snapping her jaws. The coyote jumped back, surprised by her aggression shown. Sister barked again, louder, more aggressive than before now. The coyotes hesitated, uncertain about this small, fierce dog. Finally, they retreated into darkness, seeking easier prey elsewhere. Sister collapsed against the rock, shaking from fear and adrenaline. But she had survived through intelligence and bravery combined.
Brother reached Colorado territory after 6 weeks of walking. The flat plains gave way to foothills and mountains. The Rocky Mountains loomed ahead, like massive walls blocking. Brother had never seen mountains this size before, ever. The wagon train trail led directly into mountain passes. Brother followed without hesitation or fear of the challenge. The air grew thinner and colder with each mile. Snow appeared on peaks above, even in summer heat. Brother's breath came harder in the thin mountain air. He climbed steep trails carefully, placing each paw deliberately. One wrong step meant a fatal fall down cliffs. At night, temperatures dropped below freezing in the mountains. Brother's thick coat protected him, but he shivered still. He found caves and overhangs for shelter when possible. Food was scarce in the high mountains for hunting. Brother ate whatever he could find to survive alone.
Sister reached Nebraska territory following the northern route westward. She encountered a homestead family one afternoon while traveling. A woman saw Sister approaching and called her husband quickly. "Look, a dog," she said, pointing at the Border Collie. The man grabbed his rifle, unsure if dog was wild. Sister stopped at a safe distance, watching them carefully. She was exhausted, hungry, and desperately needed help now. The woman saw intelligence in Sister's blue eyes immediately. "She's not wild," the woman said gently to her husband. "She's lost." The woman put down a bowl of food scraps. Sister approached cautiously and ate gratefully from the offered bowl. The family let Sister rest in their barn overnight. Sister slept deeply for the first time in weeks. In the morning, the woman tried to keep Sister, but Sister barked at the western horizon with clear intent.
"She's going somewhere," the man observed, watching Sister's behavior. "She won't stay here with us." The woman gave Sister dried meat and water for travel. Sister accepted the gifts, then immediately headed west again. The woman watched Sister disappear, with tears in her eyes. "I hope she finds what she's looking for," she whispered. Sister continued west with renewed energy from the rest. Brother crossed the highest mountain pass in Colorado territory. The trail was narrow, with cliffs on both sides. Wind howled through the pass, threatening to push him. Brother pressed low to the ground, walking slowly forward. Snow covered the trail, making footing treacherous and dangerous. Brother slipped once, his paw catching on ice suddenly. He scrambled desperately and regained his footing just barely. His heart pounded from the close call with death. Finally, Brother reached the western side of the mountains. The land sloped downward into Wyoming, territory ahead of him. Brother descended from the mountains over several days of travel.
The air grew warmer and easier to breathe gradually. He found more game to hunt in lower elevations. Brother's body was lean and muscular from months of walking. His eyes held a determined focus that never wavered westward. He had walked over 500 miles since the river. Sister had covered similar distance on her northern route. She crossed into Wyoming territory from Nebraska, heading southwest. The two dogs were still separated by 200 miles, but both continued west toward the same distant destination. Neither knew if the other was alive or dead, but neither stopped walking toward their shared goal ahead. One evening, Brother reached a trading post in Wyoming territory. Men gathered outside, drinking and talking loudly together there. Brother approached cautiously, hoping for food or water offered. A man spotted Brother and threw a rock at him.
"Get out of here, mutt," the man shouted drunkenly. The rock hit Brother's shoulder, making him yelp in pain. Brother ran from the trading post back into wilderness. His trust in humans had been broken by cruelty. From then on, Brother avoided human settlements completely while traveling. Sister had better luck with humans on her journey. She encountered a mail rider traveling west through Wyoming. The rider saw Sister and stopped his horse immediately. "Where'd you come from?" he asked the Border Collie gently. Sister approached the horse calmly, showing no fear at all. The mail rider shared his lunch with Sister generously. He noticed Sister kept looking west while eating the food. "You're going somewhere specific, aren't you?" he said thoughtfully. The mail rider decided to let Sister follow him. They traveled together for 3 days, heading west together. Then their paths diverged as rider turned north for delivery. Sister continued west alone without hesitation or doubt shown.
Brother entered Utah territory after 4 months of walking alone. His body was scarred from encounters with wildlife and terrain. One ear had a tear from a fight with a badger. His paws were tough as leather from endless miles traveled. But Brother's spirit remained unbroken and determined as ever. The Salt Lake Valley stretched before him with vast emptiness. Brother could smell water in the distance, drawing him forward. He reached the Great Salt Lake and drank deeply, thirstily. The water was salty and undrinkable, making him sick briefly. Brother learned quickly and found fresh streams instead nearby. He hunted rabbits and sage grouse to survive in Utah. Sister entered Utah from the north 2 weeks after Brother. She had been traveling for 4 months as well now. Her black and white coat was faded from sun exposure. She was thinner, but her muscles were strong and lean. Sister's blue eyes still held fierce intelligence and unwavering determination. She had survived storms, predators, hunger, and exhaustion on journey. Nothing would stop her from reaching her destination in California. Sister found evidence of Brother's passing at a stream one day. Large paw prints and dried mud were days old. Sister's nose caught the faintest scent of her brother there. Her tail wagged for the first time in months with hope. Brother was alive and ahead of her on this trail.
Brother crossed into Nevada territory as summer turned to autumn. The landscape changed to harsh desert with little water available. Brother traveled at night when temperatures were cooler for survival. During the day, he rested in any shade found. The desert was brutal and unforgiving to all travelers crossing. Brother's tongue hung from his mouth constantly from heat exhaustion. He found a small desert spring one evening, barely alive. Brother drank until he couldn't drink any more from it, thankfully. He rested by the spring for 2 days, regaining strength. Small lizards and desert rats became his food source here. Then, Brother continued west through the endless Nevada desert ahead. Sister followed 2 weeks behind on the same desert route. The Border Collie was better suited to heat than Brother. Her lean body required less water and food than his. But the desert still tested her limits severely every day. Sister reached the same spring Brother had used for rest. She drank deeply and noticed old paw prints in mud. Large paw prints from a big dog recently passed through. Sister's nose caught a scent that made her freeze instantly. Brother. Her brother had been here recently at this spring. Sister barked excitedly into the desert air around her desperately. No answer came back from the vast empty landscape. But Sister knew now that brother was alive and ahead. Sister's determination doubled, knowing brother was close, relatively speaking now.
Brother reached the California border in late October, finally arriving. 5 months of walking had brought him to this moment. The Sierra Nevada mountains stood before him as final obstacle. Brother stared at the snow-capped peaks with tired eyes. He had already crossed one mountain range in Colorado earlier. Now he had to cross another, even bigger range. Brother started climbing into the Sierras with autumn snow falling. The passes were already dangerous with early winter storms. Brother pushed through knee-deep snow, struggling forward with each step. His thick coat protected him from the worst cold, but even brother struggled in the harsh mountain conditions. He found a cave one night as a blizzard struck. Brother huddled in the cave for 3 days waiting. The blizzard raged outside with howling winds and heavy snow. Brother's food was gone, and his stomach ached with hunger. On the 4th day, the storm cleared and brother emerged. The world was white and silent and beautiful around him. Brother continued climbing toward the pass, with renewed determination showing. His breath came in clouds in the freezing air. Each step was a battle against deep snow and thin air. But brother kept climbing higher toward the pass above him. The wagon train trail was buried under snow, but instinct guided brother west, always heading toward the setting sun every day. Sister reached the California border 2 weeks after brother arrived. She faced the same Sierra Nevada mountains looming ahead. The Border Collie was smaller, and the snow was deeper. Sister struggled more than brother had in the deep snow. She had to jump through drifts higher than her body. Her legs ached and her lungs burned from exertion constantly. Sister's smaller size made this final obstacle nearly impossible to overcome. She collapsed in the snow one afternoon, completely exhausted. Finally. Sister lay in the snow, unable to move another step. Her blue eyes looked at the mountain peaks above her. She had come so far over so many months alone. 800 miles she had walked through every hardship imaginable, but these mountains might be where her journey ended forever. Sister closed her eyes, accepting her fate with peace finally. Then she heard something in the distance, faintly carrying on wind. A bark. A familiar bark she knew from birth and memory. Sister's eyes snapped open with sudden hope flooding through her. She lifted her head, listening intently to the sound again. Another bark echoed down from the mountains above her position. Brother! That was brother's bark she would recognize anywhere in world. Sister forced herself to stand on shaking legs with new strength. She barked back as loud as she could manage. Brother's ears perked up, hearing a response from behind him. He turned and barked again, listening carefully for the sound.
Sister's bark came again, closer now as she climbed toward him. Brother started moving back down the trail toward the sound. The two dogs moved toward each other, guided by barks. Sister climbed over a ridge and saw golden red fur ahead. Brother turned and saw black and white markings approaching below. They both froze, staring at each other across 50 yards. 5 months apart. 800 miles each had traveled alone, and now they stood facing each other in mountains. Brother barked once, tentatively, unsure if this was real or dream. Sister answered with her sharp Border Collie bark that brother knew. They both started running toward each other through the snow. Brother's large body crashed through drifts, heading to Sister eagerly. Sister jumped through the snow with all her remaining strength. They met in the middle, colliding together in the deep snow.
Brother and sister rolled together, barking and whining with pure joy. They licked each other's faces frantically, checking that this was real. Brother nuzzled sister's neck gently, as he had always done. Sister pressed against brother's larger body, seeking his warmth and protection. They stood together in the snow, neither willing to separate again. Brother's brown eyes and sister's blue eyes both held emotion beyond words, capable of expressing it fully and completely, together, now reunited at last after impossible journey.
Brother and sister descended the western slope together, side by side. They moved as one unit again after so long apart. The wagon train trail was visible below, leading to settlements. They walked together through the foothills into California's Central Valley. The land was green and beautiful after months of harsh terrain. Brother and sister found streams with fresh water and game, but they didn't stop for long, always moving west together. The wagon train had settled near Sacramento in the valley. Mary had never stopped hoping her dogs would return someday. She stood outside her family's new cabin every evening looking east. "They're not coming," her father Samuel said gently one evening. "It's been 5 months, Mary. They couldn't have survived." But Mary refused to give up hope in her heart. "They're coming," she said firmly, with absolute certainty in voice. One evening in late November, Mary stood outside as usual. She looked toward the eastern mountains in the distance always. 2 shapes appeared on the trail, coming from the foothills. Mary's heart stopped as she recognized the movement pattern immediately. "Papa!" she screamed, running toward the shapes without hesitation at all. Samuel came outside and saw the 2 dogs approaching rapidly. Brother and sister saw Mary running and broke into run. They met in the middle of the trail in reunion. Mary fell to her knees, hugging both dogs, crying with joy. Brother and sister covered her face with kisses, barking happily. Samuel approached slowly with tears in his weathered eyes too. "They came back," he whispered in amazement. "They actually made it." Mary looked at her father with tears streaming down face.
"I told you they would come," she said proudly. Brother and sister pressed against Mary from both sides protectively. They were home, at last, after their impossible journey completed. That night, brother and sister slept curled together under Mary's bed. They were exactly where they belonged, together, finally and permanently. Samuel told the story of the 2 dogs to everyone listening. Brother and sister became legends in the Sacramento settlement immediately. 2 dogs who had walked separately across 1,000 miles apart, who had overcome every obstacle nature could throw at them, who had never given up on finding each other again forever, who had proven that love was stronger than distance or hardship. Brother and sister lived the rest of their lives together happily. They were never separated again for even a single day. They grew old together, always side by side, as meant. And when they finally passed many years later, peacefully, they went together, still side by side, still inseparable, forever bound together. 2 dogs, 1 journey, 1 impossible distance overcome by love. Brother and sister had written their story across the frontier, a story told for generations about loyalty and love enduring, about never giving up on those you love most, about finding your way home no matter how far away, and about the unbreakable bond between 2 souls meant together.